Brian, did you guys have any say in where this game was going to be played, or is it just Jacksonville and that's it?
Yeah, got informed this morning that it was going to be Jacksonville. I don't think we had a whole lot of say. I think obviously they work with us, but it's I think with this being a New Orleans home game, that was a lot of say from our view. Love to have it here though. Would have been nice.
Brian, what went into the change at punter?
I just think we had a chance to feel like we have a chance to get better there, and it's kind of like we talk about all the time. I mean, roster building's 365 days a year, and we're always looking for a chance to get better. And obviously, Corey had a fantastic year in Buffalo last year, and just watching him this preseason, we thought this was a chance for us to get better.
How important is it that Corey gets up to speed on, I guess, the holding aspect of it? That was obviously something JK's good at. Is there any concern that might not be as good as JK had it by the regular season?
Yeah, Corey's in the past been a very good holder, but it's like anything when you work with a new group, a new snapper, and a new kicker. It's going to take they got to get on it and get working here pretty quickly. So JK was an outstanding holder, but we're going to expect the same standard with Corey when he gets here.
Is Hunter still your? Is he your snapper?
He is.
Can I ask why? There was the day that you guys moved into the Hudson Center. He had 6 snaps on field goals and 3 were low. I mean, like really low, which has kind of been.
Yeah, that's a practice, but really, I think in Hunter's time here in what is 3 years now, I mean, he's been really consistent, and in games, I think he's only had a handful of snaps that we would consider not great. None that have really cost us. So I think Hunter's done a really good job for us, and he'll continue to be our snapper until we like I said before, unless we can find better.
Brian, watch David working out on the side all summer long. I mean, was any thought given to carrying him active to try and get him back sooner than week 7?
Yeah, that's always a tough decision because obviously he's working his tail off, and but at the same time, I think from the history and the timelines of the injury that he suffered and where he's at, he's such a cornerstone piece to this organization, and he's such an important part of what we're doing. I just think where he's at and where we thought he could be in the first 6 weeks, this was the best thing for the team and for David.
Brian, is that generally, you go by a 10-month period, waiting period for the ACL?
Well, I think that's, listening to, Flea and Doc, it's really 9 to 11 is kind of the range in there. But each case is individual, and I think you got to look at it that way. And I also just think, what he brings to our football team, rushing him out there early was not going to be something that I was comfortable doing. And so, again, he's an important part of what we're doing. It's a long season, and we'll be excited to get him back. And I think this will give him the opportunity to get back and ready to go right when that 6-week mark is up.
Did it make it easier? I guess he had to pass a physical, so maybe it was out of your hands, but did it at least make it easier from a football side that Elton is there at left tackle and your faith and confidence in him doing that?
Yeah, I think the faith and confidence in Elton is always we certainly have that in Elton. I don't think in this particular case it would have mattered because this is more about David's health and where he's at. If we didn't have Elton for some reason, I don't think it would have changed the decision any. It is nice having a guy who we feel can play 5 spots on the offensive line at a very high level. That's pretty rare in this league, and Elton's proven I think he can do that. But this is going to be a new challenge for him as well, to take on what he's taken on. So, but I think, we're confident that he can do it. But him being there didn't change the decision on David.
You know the league obviously very, very well from a person that if Elton was just a left tackle, where would he stack up? I mean, what kind of left tackle? He's a Pro Bowl left guard, but what kind of left tackle is he?
That's a tough question to answer before he goes out there and does it. I think all players, when they switch positions, it's going to take a little time to get kind of the nuances of that position down. But I'm very confident that he can do this at a high level. How good he can be, we'll see. He's exceeded expectations in everything we've ever asked him to do. So we feel confident, but it is left tackle in the National Football League is not an easy thing, and this is going to be a challenge for him. But we have a lot of confidence in Elton.
How do you feel, Brian, just about how the competition at guard shook out and everything? And it looks like we haven't been told for sure, but it looks like you might have 2 rookies starting on the offensive line either now. Just how do you feel about the group as a whole?
Yeah, I thought the competition across the whole offensive line was fantastic this camp. We have a lot of new faces that are going to be playing in some of those roles, but I thought the depth that we had is as good as that I've seen. Now, there's a lot of guys that are maybe unproven. They're going to have to go prove it through the course of a season. But the depth and competition was as good as we've had here in a long time.
Without going through the entire practice squad, were you able to get Kurt back on the practice squad?
As far as I know right now, yes. Yeah, we're going through that right now. We expect him to be back, so.
Hey, Brian, what's your level of concern right now with Zadarius, and how did that impact some of your decisions on the roster?
I don't think it impacted any of our decisions on the roster. Obviously, Zadarius is a very important part of what we're doing, so whenever he's not out there, there's a little concern. But I feel pretty confident that obviously we got him in really good hands, and he's working hard to try to get back for New Orleans. But he's another guy that, this is going to be a long season, and we feel really good about our football team, so we're going to make sure that we're not going to rush anybody out there and cost something down the line for something right now.
Brian, what did Jack show you to kind of continue on that undrafted rookie, sort of streak?
Yeah, he just kept making plays, quite honestly, and not only in practice, but then every time he played a lot of snaps, like a lot of our young guys did this year, and he just what Jerry Montgomery and the defensive staff was asking him to do, he was very consistent. Really liked his preparation. It showed in the games when we got out there and played, and he made plays. And I just, finding big men later in the year is very hard to do, and so letting those guys, exposing those guys wasn't something we were willing to do.
I think 5 inside linebackers. Was that a special teams consideration there?
A little bit, yeah. I think obviously we thought all 5 of those guys earned it as backers, on the defense as well. But we're pretty excited about, especially we got some proven guys in OB and Ty, but adding Isaiah McDuffie to that mix too. I think that helps our special teams. But Isaiah got a little bit of a rough start there because of the injury, but then once he came on, he played really, really well in these last 2 preseason games and through the weeks that he was out there. So, but yeah, that was part of it.
Back in March, you told us, Jordan needs as many live reps as possible. After getting the reps that he's got, where do you think he's at, and what's next for him?
Yeah, no, I thought he had a fantastic camp. I really did. I thought obviously he had a little bit of a pause in there where he missed some time, which would have been nice for him to have. But thought he did an excellent job. Really saw the growth we needed to see, and I was excited for him. Obviously, nothing's perfect, and there's definitely some things in there that I think he'll take from this preseason with him as he goes. But no, I thought it was fantastic.
When you talk about growth and it being fantastic, what was fantastic about him? Where did you see him grow? What made it a good camp?
Yeah, no, I thought, for his first live action since Utah State, I thought he was very calm, poised. I thought he was able to get in and out of the plays that Matt wanted him to get in and out of. And I didn't think the rush bothered him. I thought he kept his eyes downfield. He obviously made some really good throws. And again, obviously there were some moments in there that he'll look back on and grow from. But at the same time, he moved the team. We would like to have finished better in that last game. But yeah, I thought it was really, really positive.
Back to Kurt, was that a tough decision, not just because it is a quarterback?
I'm not sure if it was a tough decision. I think he's done some really, really good things there. But as our roster kind of stacked up, I think going with 2 was something we kind of had planned, and we're happy to get him back to the practice squad.
Yeah, receiver, what'd you like about Malik's camp to get him on the roster?
Yeah, you guys saw it. I thought he earned it all the way through camp, from the first day in practices and joint practices and the preseason games. He just kind of earned it the whole way. I think he's gotten continuously better from last year. Took a good step. That's a tough group to crack. There wasn't a lot of open spots in that group, but we had some guys that had some unfortunate injuries along the way. So I think the competition, he just kind of, he kind of stood out. And certainly in the preseason games where it matters the most, he stepped up.
Did you see enough of Yadam in just the short time he was here? You're going back to Giant stuff that kind of, confirmed what you were thinking you were going to get with him?
Yeah, a little bit of both. It's, obviously have a history of watching tape on him. He started a bunch of games in the National Football League. But whenever you get him into your environment, that can change some things. But I thought in the preseason games, he did a nice job of being physical in the run game. And then I also think he's going to factor in on some special teams as well.
Did David being on PUP alter any other decisions along the offensive line? Did that factor anything?
No, I don't think I've ever liked to go less than 9. It's usually kind of 9 or 10. And I think with David being down, obviously that I probably added an extra guy. Now, I thought we had the depth. If we would have kept David, we could have kept 10. But then again, somewhere else was going to have to suffer because of that. But I think as we moved through the preseason, there was some hope that maybe we'd get to a point where it would be different. But I don't think we ever really thought that this wasn't going to be the outcome.
What did Jake Hansen do to get that 9th spot?
Yeah, really proud of Jake. Obviously, his career at Oregon, he had very good success. He kind of had a little bit of an injury coming out of his senior year that he tried to work through last year, and then finally got something fixed. And I thought you saw his true talent kind of show out this year, and you got to give him a lot of credit working through the injury and then just being prepared and ready. Thought he had a great camp. He played pretty much center only while he was at Oregon. We put him in at some guard in different practices, and he showed really well. So, really earned it, and proud of him working through that period of time from last year to now.
Hey, Brian, what did it mean to have the preseason games back? Now looking
Yeah.
back on it, compared to what you had to do a year ago.
Yeah, huge. A lot more work for us, compared to last year. Not a lot of scouts looking at each other and going back to college tape like we were last year. So it was nice to have the tape and really get to see a lot of these young guys, not only from the 21 class but the 2020 class, and it helps us build our emergency boards and ready lists and things like that. So it was not only kind of developing our own team and getting ready for the season and getting a more accurate view of what we have, but also just across the league, just knowing what's out there and being prepared for a 17-plus game season.
When the coaches used Amari Rodgers a lot early on and then seemed to, move Randall into that. What kind of development did you see from him? Can he help you this year?
Amari, yeah, absolutely. Obviously, not only on offense, but in the return game as well. And excited. I think, that's one of the really positive things about our coaching staff is their creativity and how they use players. I think they look at things through what a player can do, not so much just a system, which I very much appreciate as a personnel guy. And so I think Matt and Hackett and that offensive staff have a lot of different thoughts and packages as we go forward, how to use kind of the versatility of our guys. I think as a whole on offensive line, wide receivers, running backs, tight ends, we have a very versatile group that's going to allow our coaching staff to kind of pivot to where they think we need to go whenever we need to go, barring injuries and so forth. But I'm excited for it. I think he's gonna make an impact.
Brian, you've got Amari, Kylan potentially on kickoff returns. You talked about the punter before. How much do you feel you just upgraded the personnel on special teams?
Yeah, I feel good about it. I do. I think obviously Amari's done a lot of returning and as a punt returner. Kylan hasn't done a ton of kick returning, so I think that's going to be kind of he'll grow there, and he'll be part of it. I'd also like some of the things we've done from a coverage unit standpoint. Adding Corey as our punter, I'm excited about that. He's not here yet. It'll take a minute to get him in here and get him involved with what we're doing. But I think we have a chance to be better there.
Hey, Brian, have you guys done a lot of homework on the new punter, given he came out the same year that Scott did, right?
Yep.
Did you guys do a lot of homework on him, or was he just someone who kind of popped out of the woodwork?
I wouldn't say he popped out of the woodwork. He started in New England, and I think he got claimed maybe around this time by Buffalo, and then 19 and 20. I thought from 19 to 20 he really improved and had a fantastic year last year in Buffalo. I did some really good things in some cold weather opportunities late in the year, and then when he went out to L.A., obviously, with their punter out there that's been there for a long time, we kind of had our eye on that as that battle kind of went through. So, again, we're excited to get him. We know what he's done in the past. Had a really nice preseason, and we're excited to get him up to speed here in Lambeau and learning how to kick in the stadium and so forth.
You guys are giving Ben Braden a look at a starting guard spot early in camp. What happened there with him to not make the 53?
No, Ben did a great job, and like I said, I think we were rotating a lot of guys through the interior of our offensive line throughout, OTAs to training camp, and we're very hopeful that we get Ben back here in the practice squad and we can move forward. He did a great job for us, and like I said, we had a ton of competition there, settling on those 9. With Bakhtiari's decision in play as well was a tough call, but we're excited about that group. Like I said, I think it's the most depth we've had in a long time.
Hey, Brian, the machinations of you getting Corey in, is that something you had an eye on when he went to LA because you knew the 2 guys? And then when Hecker decided his contract stuff, did you need to pounce because you kind of figured he wouldn't make it through waivers to you?
Yeah, I think, it's our pro scouting department does a great job, and we're always these are daily meetings as we go through every day. And as it got closer, we knew that was a possibility. Obviously, with us claiming our claim order being very far back, I think we just kind of felt this, if we wanted to acquire the player, this is what we were going to need to do it. And, kind of flopping picks in 23 there, I didn't think that was much to give up for someone we kind of really wanted to bring into the squad.
All right, we go to Zoom. Sarah, go ahead.
Yep, we have three. We'll start with Andy Herman.
Hey Brian, I guess my simple question is, how did Kylan Hill last until the 7th round, and what have you seen out of him through training camp so far, and through this offseason?
Yeah, Kylan's done a great job for us. He continues to kind of work at his craft and become a pro, and the opportunities he's gotten this season, I think he's capitalized on. So we're excited about his growth and where he can go. As far as the draft, as you guys know, it's a funny thing at times. There's a lot of things out there. Him opting out and only really playing a few games in 2021, I think, was part of that factor. But we're excited that we got him. We didn't expect him to last that long, but once we were able to take him, we were excited, and he's certainly done a nice job so far.
Mike Clemens.
It's a pretty good team you got looking out there in training camp.
Thanks,
you
Mike.
guys have gone through all of these challenges like the pandemic and stuff, the CBA changes. I want you to think about when you took over this job, what needed to be done better as an organization. You guys see a lot of potential in your coaching staff. Tell me about your personnel staff. What are the Packers doing better as an organization as you enter your 4th season?
Yeah, that's a tough question, because I've always kind of felt, when Ted was here, that we were doing a really good job. And I think the one thing that I've always kind of, whether it was when I was working for Ted or the way we do things now, and this goes not just within the personnel staff or the coaching staff, but throughout the building, I think Mark does a really good job of kind of setting this tone that there's no complacency. You know what I mean? There's standards that we have, but there's no complacency. It's always looking to become better, looking at your processes each and every year, each and every day. If there's a way you can get better, if there's a way that you can tweak things from a number of different areas. And, it goes from things like, Mike Hallbach and his football technology staff and some of the things we're doing there, or Chris Carr and sports psychology and some of the things we're doing there. I think it's just a constant kind of thought of, okay, let's look at everything, and you have some foundational principles you never really want to get away from, but if you can kind of continue to evolve and become better, then we're gonna try to do that.
And last one, Aaron Naylor.
Brian, given everything we've read and heard about outside the building for the past 5 months, I feel I need to ask, did Aaron Rodgers consult with you, or did you reach out and consult with Aaron about any of the moves you made yesterday?
I've had really good conversations throughout camp with Aaron and Matt, and I think the communication has been really, really good. And so as we went into this kind of decision-making period, I think, everybody, all the people that are kind of involved in that were very aware of what was going on and why we were doing what we were doing. So I feel really good about that, and the conversations that I've had with Aaron have been excellent.